So today I thought I would do a short video on how I budget for Christmas. I have a tight budget, but I don't have what I would consider a small number of people to buy for. I have my parents, I have my brother and his wife, I have their 3 children who are all under 10. I have my best friend. I don't buy for her partner or her kids because too much. It's just too much. And I also have my other friend who I meet when I go back home, my old school friend, and we have a no gifts, no cards policy on everything because we are both living very tight existences. So by just having a rule of don't do it, there's never any expectation or any problem with that. We don't need to give presents. It's just, you don't have to do it. So I always keep a spreadsheet. I keep spreadsheets for everything. It means there are never any surprises. I know what's coming up. I know what I've got to plan for. And it means that there's no scary things around the corner that I haven't thought about. So I was worried that Christmas was going to come in high this year, and then I realised that my best friend, whose birthday is just before Christmas, I had put into the Christmas section, so it has now dropped a bit, and now I'm thinking actually I've done really well. So I've done a comparison with last year as well, so that I can show you the difference in the numbers, and it's a bit of a mixture really. So I know that prices have gone up this year, but also I have been less strict on my money this year. I was really frugal about buying stuff last year because I get fed up with buying stuff for people that they don't need. And I'm very much I've always been a practical present buyer, so I'd rather get something that solves a problem for somebody than just buy them frivolous stuff because you've got to fill up the space. So last year, particularly with my brother's kids, where they have 2 sets of grandparents who just spend as they will. They don't have any financial restrictions. And then my sister-in-law has 5 brothers and sisters. So there are a lot of nieces, a lot of nephews, a lot of cousins. There's a lot of overwhelm on their side of the family. My side is very small, direct family. There's me, my brother, my mum and my dad. My parents never had any brothers and sisters. And everyone else is scattered all over the place. So there's a lot of disconnect with a lot of other like cousins and stuff like that. And for my parents who are now 80, a lot of people have just gone. But on my sister-in-law's side, there's a lot of family and everybody lives locally. So it's quite hectic. So in some ways that takes the pressure off because I get lost in the numbers. So therefore, if I just give my nieces and my nephew 1 present each, they don't really notice because they got 15 from somebody else. They end up with so much stuff. So my numbers, I make a spreadsheet and I start with a column for predicted amounts, what I think it's going to cost me. And I've already thought about the sorts of things that I want to buy. So somebody might have already asked for a particular book or something like that. And I list each present individually. And then I put in what I think it's going to cost based on research I've already done, expectation, etc., etc. Then I have a column which is the shop price. So that's where I found the items, say, online or maybe on Sainsbury or on Amazon or something. I put the price that I found it for there. Now, there are certain lifelines that I use for buying presents, and my main one is Nectar Points through Sainsbury. Now, I shop very frugally, so I earn very, very few points from my own shopping on with Sainsbury. But there are other places where I earn my points. So one of them is that I do 2 shopping trips for the elderly couple I clean for per week. They don't have a Sainsbury Nectar card, but they like to take advantage of the Nectar prices. So I'll do the shop. I'll pay for it on my credit card. I will scan my Nectar card, which means I get points. and then so I've got the points, they get the Nectar prices, and then they pay me the cash for the shopping when I take the shopping to them that day when I'm going to see them. So that means I've earned points there. Because I only shop with Nectar points when I go to Sainsbury, when you shop with Nectar points, you don't earn the Nectar points. So most of the time, I don't earn little or any points at all. I'll get them when I buy petrol. So I went and got petrol yesterday, and at this time of year, they're running these little things to make you shop more. So if you have the Sainsbury Nectar app, you will see at the moment they are running do 5 shops worth at least £30 in December, and you earn, I think it starts at 100 points and it graduates up by 50 points each until you've done the 5 shops. Now that's no good to me, but for the elderly couple I shop for, so I went and bought some shopping for them yesterday, it came in over £30 because it was the second shop I'd done for them. I did one last week that came to over £30 as well. So those are extra points that I'm making. One of the other things I do is use the Sainsbury's partners. Now, most of these things are completely irrelevant for me. But if I, for instance, I also shop quite a lot on eBay for presents and things like that. And if I use the link in the Nectar app for eBay, their partner, so what I do on my main eBay, I'll set up with what I want to buy, I'll put it into the basket, and then I'll use the partner app through Nectar. I'll buy the thing on eBay in the same way, but through them, and you get points. You get 4 points per pound on that. It's not a lot, but you know what? Every little helps, as I think Tesco say. So there's little extra points coming in from all those places. My main income from Nectar points, though, is through 2 of the survey sites that I use. So I use eRewards, and then I have Nectar Canvas. And that is, so with eRewards, you earn up to 1,000 points, and then you can cash that in for £5 of Nectar points, and it puts it straight into your Nectar account. With Nectar Canvas, you get paid per survey, and with eRewards, if you start a survey and you get screened out, they'll still give you 10 points for trying, which is great because most sites don't do that. And with Nectar Canvas, if you get screened out, it's 2 points. But with this constant tick over, because I'm doing surveys all the time, it's one of my kind of side hustle incomes. It means that I'm on average earning about £40 of Nectar points per month just from doing surveys. So my account is always usually over £50 of Nectar points in my Nectar card. And that is what gets me through Christmas. So what I've done with my spreadsheet this year, so I've got my predicted column, I've got my shop price. I also include what I've saved with Nectar prices. So there are presents where you get a lot of Nectar prices when you go into Sainsbury, and you'll see, like, there was one present I bought for my sister-in-law, and it was £12, but because I was shopping with the Nectar card, it was £6, so it was half price. So I've got that. And then the next column I have is how much I saved with Nectar points. So I will, when you shop with Nectar, you purchase in £2.50 increments. So when I'll use the Smart Shop app on the phone and scan as I go around the shop, and then I'll know how short I am to make sure that I'm benefiting as much from just Nectar points. So if I'm like, I don't know, £1 short of reaching the next £2.50 increment, I'll go and buy a bag of greens or some carrots or something, whatever it is that gets me just up above that level, so that very often I can go in and pay like 30 or 40p for my shopping because it'll come in just over. So I also have the column which has saved with Nectar points, so I can see, as well as how much I've saved by using the Nectar prices, I can see what I've saved by buying with the Nectar points. And this year I also had a couple of £5 gift cards in Amazon, and I used it to buy one of the presents that I couldn't get anywhere else, which is the main present for my nephew. So here, I'm going to show you now, is what my costs look like for this year. So you can see my predicted and my shop price this year were the same, because I didn't really have much expectation on what I was actually buying. There's a few differences in where you can see where in the predicted there was a price. And then sometimes with eBay, one of the good things with eBay is if I favourite an item, so I put it into my watched list because I'm thinking of buying it, sometimes if you leave it there for a couple of days, they will send you an offer, and it might only be 20 or 30p off, but it works. So you can see where on some of these lines, so if you go down to the line that shows $8.95, you can see it was predicted at $18.95, and then it had a shop price of $8.95, but I left it in my basket for a couple of days, and I got offered a small discount, and that went down to $8.50. And there was another one towards the bottom which was $11.98, and I got because I was buying two things, similar things from the same shop, there was a multi-buy discount, so that came in at £10.78. So those little incremental amounts do make a difference. And now you can see at the bottom the value of all those columns. And you can see how much I've saved with Nectar prices. I've saved £19.55 by buying everything on Nectar points, where I went into Sainsbury and bought things. I've saved £49.10, and I saved £10 on my nephew's present, which meant I only paid £2 for his present because I had £10 in Amazon. And because I had it delivered to an Amazon locker rather than being sent to my house, it came with free postage. So that was great, because that Amazon Prime postage is a pain. So there was one other thing that I bought, which I've never done before, and I bought something from Argos because I couldn't find it anywhere else. And I had not realised. I know that Sainsbury, Nectar and Argos are connected. There's the Argos desk inside Sainsbury, but I'd forgotten or not realised that you can buy in Argos with Nectar points. So I got, and it doesn't work in the £2.50 increments. So I bought something else for my nephew because I'd only spent £2 on him. And although it was actually quite an expensive present for what it was, it's quite small. And you know what kids are like about size is everything. So I bought him something else that I know he will play with, because my mum said, get him this if you can. And that was 12 quid. But I bought it in Argos, and where's the line gone? There's the line there. And I bought it in Argos. I linked my Nectar. So I set up an Argos account, because I don't think I had one, or I hadn't used it in years, so I had to put a new password in. So it was £12. I linked it with my Nectar card, and I paid nothing for it. So in the end, I've spent £103.47 on Christmas this year, which is really good. And here below, I have included what my figures were last year. So I have bought less in Sainsbury this year. It just so happens that particularly my mum, there were a couple of things she asked for, and I wasn't going to get them in Sainsbury at all. And a few, the stuff that I bought for my dad, you wouldn't get in Sainsbury either. So I spent more money on presents outside of Sainsbury Nectar. But it's worked out really well, so I haven't actually spent that much. Now, I don't host Christmas, so I don't have to buy... there's no food, there's no booze, there's no nothing like that, but I do have the travel costs. And although my travel costs are minimal, I drive, I have a very efficient little 3-door car, but I have to do a 500-mile round trip. So you can easily add, let's say we add £60 to that because of my travel. So it's not, that is not the whole of Christmas, but it's pretty much Christmas. And so you can add that if you want to. And I bought my petrol at Sainsbury, and I've made extra on points for that. And within my, so on your app, it refreshes all your Nectar offers every week. And I had one for petrol in there. So I made an extra 100 points because I got my petrol before the expiry date on that petrol voucher. So, you know, every little helps, if you know what I mean. So I realised that I've posted this up quite late for Christmas. Most of you who are buying stuff will have already done it, and certainly if you're not using the methods that I use, you will find that you've probably missed the boat for Christmas this year, because I'm recording this on the 9th of December. But you can think about this in future terms. So if you have a low income but you have a smartphone, join the two sites that I use for earning Nectar. If Sainsbury is one of your shopping destinations, or you have one and you can go there, get yourself a Nectar card, get the app, join eRewards, join the Nectar Canvas survey site as well, and just earn points and put them into your card. Just have them stashed into your card, and then you could use that for birthdays and Christmas and Easter and I don't know, whatever else it is. And you can get a reasonable variety of stuff. My Sainsbury's store is not a big one, but it has a good variety. You've got some kids' toys, you've got lots of homewares, because Habitat is now part of them as well. So there's some nice kitchen stuff, bathroom stuff, candles, all that sort of stuff. Food and drink, gifting food and drink is always a good one. You've got bedding section, all these different bits and pieces. You can use it for all sorts of things. And then if you have money over, or you find that you're having a tough month and you need extra food, go and shop on your Nectar points for your food. I do. So I don't really spend any money in Sainsbury, despite having lots and lots of points. And they must hate me in Sainsbury, because on my card, for me buying in Sainsbury, it's like 30-40p a couple of times a week. The only way I spend actual food money is for the elderly couple that I buy food for. And it helps them out, it helps me out, because I get the points and things. And that all gets stashed up towards Christmas. So this is kind of how I use it. Now, there are lots of other survey sites where you can get paid in supermarket vouchers. So some of them, Morrison's tends not to be one that you see, but a lot of them will offer, you can either be paid cash in PayPal if you reach a certain point. A lot of them will offer Amazon gift cards, so that's, you can stash those up. Tesco appears sometimes, Sainsbury gift cards I have seen, and you can stash those up as well for your Christmas purchasing and stuff. So if you think that would be helpful for you, go and get yourself an Nectar card if you don't have one, or a Tesco Club card or whatever, and join the survey sites. If you go to my end of month audits, I always include lists of the survey sites that I have used that month, and you can start stashing up for the next event that's unaffordable, but you feel under pressure to buy for, or you want to buy for. You might really love buying stuff for people for Christmas, but you don't have the money. Use this as a way to get around that. Use these things to their advantage. These loyalty cards are rubbish. If you just use them as an ordinary shopper, they are not worth the value. But if you can use that to your advantage for, say, earning points through survey schemes, then you can actually turn these loyalty cards into something that actually does help pay the bills. And, prices have gone up. If you look at those costs at the bottom there in black, where you can see what I've spent this year, you can see what I spent last year, things have changed. It looks incremental, but I try to be incredibly careful. So everybody has got, I think, 3 presents from me, apart from the kids who get one each because they have so much stuff. Parents, not so much. Older people are harder to buy for. My parents, particularly my dad and my brother, are really hard to buy for. So when you get an idea, you run with it. And particularly for my dad, I try to be really practical. So he's got a couple of practical presents and one slightly frivolous one. He's not into clutter. He's not into things like that. So you try to be mindful of the sort of stuff you are buying for people. So it's been successful. And Christmas is now done for me. All I need to do now is get everything wrapped and ready. My best friend's birthday present, I made her a present this year, but I had to buy a couple of things to go with it to complete it. So it probably ended up costing me more than if I just bought her something in Sainsbury's bathroom section anyway. But I've done that for her Christmas. So she gets Christmas from me, and I've made her birthday present. And I've included that somewhere on, I think it was my last day in the life at the end there somewhere. I've done a little thing about what I've made her. So yeah, that is Christmas 2025 done. If you've got any questions about that, or there are other things that you're using that I don't know about or haven't thought about or haven't mentioned, I know a lot of people use Christmas clubs and things like that. Do add them in the comments, because, you know, Christmas comes every year and there's always time to readjust how you do things for the next year. And particularly for things that you use all year round. So if you're buying birthday presents and you know, maybe christening presents and Easter and all that sort of thing, these things will always come in handy. And particularly with this way of doing it with Nectar Points, you can use it throughout the year. Christmas clubs are great, but they're obviously just for Christmas, whereas this one is kind of the gift that keeps on giving. So I hope that's been useful. I didn't really plan what I was going to say today. I'm just literally looking at my spreadsheet and talking about that. So I hope that has been helpful. If I've missed anything, do let me know, and I will add in responses, etc. Anyway, it's a really, really dark day again today. God, I'm waiting for spring to come back. I want the daylight hours to return. I think the nights are still drawing in. The mornings, 8 o'clock in the morning is still like practically dark, and it's horrible. Anyway, so I'm going to get on and edit this, get this up online for you so you can see it. And hopefully for some of you, there is still time for you to make use of this. If not, it's time to get planning for next year, because every year's just getting more expensive. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye bye.